Welcome to the Coach Cameron podcast. This is Coach Cameron with Hall of Famer Rene Ortiz. He's an old teammate of mine, and we have him on the show. Rene Ortiz is an Anaheim native who not only started his career with San Diego Sockers, but he's kind of finishing his career with the San Diego Sockers. So we're going to talk a lot about Rene Ortiz. He has an unbelievable indoor soccer resume. He's played in the MLS. He's played all over the country in indoor. Started his career with San Diego Sockers, like I stated. Went on to Milwaukee Wave, and then back to the Sockers, and then went to the MLS with Dallas Burns, and then Cincinnati Silverbacks, Monterey Larazza, and then he played with me with the Arizona Thunder. He's also been on the national team for U.S. futsal and U.S. beach soccer. But Rene, how are you doing, buddy?
Cam, how are you, man? Nice talking to you. A long time.
I know.
Been a while.
It's been a while since, 20 years? 20 years ago, Arizona Thunder.
1999, 2000, right? Something like that. That was my last team before I retired. It was Arizona Thunder. I remember.
Yeah, you were. So let's before we get on to what you're doing coaching with San Diego Soccer, let's talk about kind of like your upbringing of where you learned soccer technique. I'm always fascinated with players that are technical as you. Of course, I was playing with you when you were much older than me, but at the end of your career, after a knee injury and stuff like that, so you obviously slowed down by then, but you're still an amazing technical player, and that's what kind of kept your career alive, because your technique. Who'd you play with as a kid? I mean, how'd you learn how to be such a great soccer player?
Well, thank you for the compliments. I grew up I was born in Anaheim, but then my parents moved to Mexico, across the border from San Diego. So I grew up in Tijuana, which is a border town. And in the early 80s, mid 80s, like 70s, early 80s, soccer was not very popular. It was more like a baseball town. Basketball and baseball were the number one sports. So I started playing soccer pretty much on the street. I was the place where I was living. There were not a lot of soccer kids. A lot of kids that played soccer, so I pretty much started kicking the ball around my front of my house. And then slowly start picking up games like 3v3, 4v4. So small-sided games. That's why if I look back and reflect on it, that's one that kind of like helped me out develop, the quickness and agility and decision-making. And obviously your first touch was very critical. And that's pretty much, I think, how I started.
Well, it's crazy. Like, so I'm sure you remember me as a player,
Yes.
I had no technique, but I ran really fast and I worked hard, and that's kind of how I survived my career. But if you saw me today, you wouldn't even recognize me as a player. Like, I'm extremely technical because I was teaching technique for years. For 15 years, I was teaching technique after my career, and I developed technique, and it was the craziest thing. I want to get out there and hopefully make one of your practices. I want to show you some of my technique as an old man. My knees are still working, so
good.
But
Good.
So you played at Monterey Larazza in '97, and my first professional goal was in 1997 in Monterey. My first two professional goals as a rookie were against you in Monterey in that crazy arena you guys played in with everyone.
Yeah, the college, university, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a small field, yeah.
And everyone smoked. And there was
the sponsor, ironically, the sponsor of the team was a cigarette company. So at halftime or between quarters, used to give free boxes of cigarettes to the people. So there was no AC and there was no ventilation. They had really small windows on the top of the building, if you remember.
Yeah.
So there was no way for the smoke to leave the arena. So it was stayed in while we were playing. People having fun smoking,
Well, the whole building was full of smoke. It was crazy. So.
Yeah, and it was the summer too. Remember, it was summer. Yes. It was the CISL, so it was pretty hot, and that didn't help. So
So part of your heyday was playing for the Milwaukee Wave. So you had, from what I see, is 133 appearances and 92 goals. So tell me about your career at Milwaukee Wave. That was a powerhouse program.
Right.
And that's kind of what led you to the, I would imagine, the futsal national team, because the coach of the Milwaukee Wave was the coach for the futsal national team, correct?
Right, but that was before that. Actually, so when I was playing for the soccer my first 3 years, that we ended up winning championships. That was the best days of San Diego Soccer. Like late 80s, 87, 88, 88, 89, 89, 90. So I was there for 3 years. My playing time was very limited. That was the old MISL days. It was very competitive.
Yeah.
You have all those foreigners, mostly Europeans. So the assistant coach for the Stalkers at that time was Johan Arnio. Got the coaching job at Milwaukee. So that's how I ended up in Milwaukee. He brought me to Milwaukee in 1990. So I was in Milwaukee for 4 years. But after 2 years, Milwaukee, Coach Arnio left. He got let go, and then Keith Toaster came in. This is before Keith Toaster became the full-time coach. So I was with Keith his first 2 years in Milwaukee, which ended up my last 2 years with the Wave, which is 93, 94. So I didn't have a chance to play futsal under Keith. I was playing under another coach. Can't remember his name. So before Keith Toaster, whoever the coach was, Kowalski, something. It was like a guy from New Jersey, New York.
Huh. Is it so? Yeah. Was Victor? Who was the goalkeeper at the time? Was it Victor? Noguera?
Yeah. So at that time, the futsal depended a lot of the NPSL or indoor soccer players. So there was usually a lot of indoor players. However, it was run by the USSF. The USSF will also send some of the players. So I play with Peter Bermise, who's now the coach for Kansas City Wizards or Kansas City FC and Sporting Kansas City in the MLS. So I played with him, and then the coach was Brett Phillips at that time. Victor didn't go. I think there was something happened that he couldn't go, so we took Brett Phillips as the goalie.
So may I ask you a question? You don't have to give me dollar amount, but I never made that much money in indoor soccer. I made okay, but I knew like players like you and Jason Vandecourt, Chris Scotty, you guys would play in the CISL, and then in the summer, and then in the winter you would go play in the MISL or MPSL or whatever it was called at the time. I know Victor was making over six figures, the goalkeeper for the Wave. And what kind of money were these indoor players making from going to both leagues? So yeah, I mean, back in the early 80s or mid 80s, toward the late 80s, there was it was a really good salary cap for the teams. So players were making pretty decent money. 125, that was the median, probably 130,000 a year. That was the median because we had Hugo Perez, we had Brian Quinn, Franco Segota, Julie B. So they were making pretty decent money. I remember they were driving to practice with Alfa Romeos or Porsches, BMWs, the high-end cars. So I didn't make as much money as those guys did, but I made enough to support myself for, 13 years that I played indoor soccer. So, yeah. So I didn't do anything else but just practicing and playing. Didn't have to do any other coaching, or I do some of the guys today had to compensate the salary by coaching, but I didn't have to do any of that. Well, it's
I can tell you, I mean, with most of the clubs will offer you, or they had to deal with like an apartment complex as a sponsor, so they offer you an apartment. And after my second, third year, which I was more recognized as a player, I was making, $2,000, $1,800, $2,500, depends. My biggest salary that I got to play indoor soccer was $3,500 a month with an apartment. Just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's. I was always stuck in the CISL, and then it had so many different names.
The bracket went the A. Yeah, they had the A, B, C, and D contracts. They call it by name. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very strange. And then I remember, so I went to play with Daryl Doran's team, the Ambush, and
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis, and then we actually played the Milwaukee Wave, and I had a shootout against Victor. And
okay.
I was doing I was pretty confident with what I would do because Daryl came and watched me play the Sand Sharks, and I scored my goal on the breakaway PK or whatever they call it, the shootout, and so I go do it the same move. I do the double step area like Terry Woodbury would do, and he didn't move, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, and he just took it from me. He's like, "All right, little one, thank you," and Daryl sent me out to the Wolves. He's just curious. All right, good luck with this guy. See how good you are, and I wasn't good. So, I came.
So I don't know if you know this about Victor. Victor usually used to play in South Africa center forward. So because when I played defense for Milwaukee, he was my goalie. So one of the things that Victor had that most goalies don't have, he had the mindset of a forward. So he kind of knew he kind of like predicted what the forward was thinking with the ball. So he was always a step ahead of you know what I mean? The ball one step ahead of the play. So he will always make the decision or like the save or the foot out to the last second. He would not do it before you.
Yeah,
he would always make
He would never fall down. Like he was always on his feet.
No, it was superb in cutting angles. You know exactly how big the goal was. So he knew the ball was going out of bounds. And he was like, when I played with him, he's very good at directing defenders. He was always very vocal.
Yeah.
So he will used to tell me, Rene, if you do your job, I don't have to do anything. So he was always on my case and the rest of the defenders. So for me, I played with Soli. I played with him. I played with Jim Gorsuch. I played with Brian Finnery. I played with Cortez in Monterrey, with Talas, all different goalies. And Victor, I think by far is probably the best goalkeeper of indoor soccer that I've been around with.
That's all I've heard from every indoor pro I've talked to. Everyone says Victor's the best goalkeeper of all time in indoor.
However, Brian Finnery, who I played with San Diego in Detroit, against Detroit, he was also pretty decent. So there's some very good goalkeepers. I mean, Brett Phillips, we talked earlier. Also unbelievable goalie. So Juan De La O, yes, he came from outdoor. He was late in his career. He started playing in the indoor.
Hey,
yeah.
I don't know if
he played with us. Remember?
Yeah,
he played with us.
He had 2 shutouts, almost 3 shutouts in one season, which is unheard of in indoor soccer. And I was part of those 2 shutouts. And the one we almost had another shutout, I was suspended, and I watched it from the crowd, and we ended up winning like 6-1. They scored it right at the end, I think, against the Freeze. But, he almost had 3 shutouts in indoor soccer. Which is crazy.
You must be talking about the second year, because I was there in 99, and then he started another year, 2000, when who was the assistant coach? Roy took over, right? As a head coach?
So it was Leroy De Leon.
Leroy.
Yeah.
Leroy, yeah.
Yeah. And
what happened to Peter? Is he still around, Peter, the coach?
Peter Berlich?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just does privates in his backyards. He has a little soccer backyard, and he makes a killing. He just has.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I mean, I've seen highlight videos of him playing. He was ridiculous as a player.
Yeah.
He probably could have played with us. But,
so all the like communist countries, from the bloc, like Russia, Yugoslavia, Hungary. If you think about it, all those guys, they're very excellent at playing indoor soccer because they grew up playing 5-a-side, 3-a-side back home because they didn't have, that many, I guess, opportunities to play outdoor soccer, so they didn't play indoor soccer or small-sided games. And that's how they came, like Soren Karic, Songo. Segura is from he's from Canada, but you know what I mean? Like Julie B, Ketter, all these guys that played in the MS and MISL make good money. They all came from mostly socialist communist countries.
Yeah, and now one quick story about Peter Berlich. So I'm a rookie playing for the Sand Sharks, and Louis Dabble gets fired, and Peter becomes the coach. And in the middle of the season, he goes to visit his mom in Yugoslavia, and then the war broke out. He disappeared for like 3 weeks, and then finally just showed up to practice one day. We thought he was gone. Or maybe it was in 98. I think it was 98. I'm not sure. But anyways, he just shows up, and he told his story of how he had to get his mother out of Yugoslavia, and had to go through Russia and all these back channels, and finally got back home to work. But horrible timing of going back to your home country.
No, I think Peter is a great guy, man. I mean, when the first time with the Sand Sharks, the Thunder, the club didn't have set up like hotels or anywhere to stay. Mm-hmm. So he had me stay at his house for I think 2-3 weeks before the hotel was arranged. So a very, very nice man to open up his house for. Yeah. In this case, one of his players. You know what I mean?
Did you eat lamb?
Yeah. You know what? He was in this. This trend of just he was eating mangoes. Just like he was fit, he went to the diet. He wanted to lose weight. He was just eating mangoes all day long. That's what he had, just mangoes. Which was the fruit. No, that's what he eat.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, he would always invite us over for lamb. He's like, "Come over, we'll have lamb." And I'm like, "I've never had lamb before," and until I met Peter. But hey, let's talk about your coaching career now. So you started as a player. How old were you when you started with San Diego Soccer? 17. Got picked up by them.
Yeah, I was drafted out of high school. I was 17. Yeah, I think I was the youngest player that MISL that year, 87.
Yeah, and so now you're coaching at the San Diego Sockers, which is historic. Program
right.
That hopefully will never die. You guys and the sidekicks. So what's the San Diego Sockers like today?
Okay, so when I was playing with the national team, because I coached the Mexican international team, so we played against the U.S. many times, exhibition games, and doing World Cup. So I was supported by the at that time was one of the assistant coaches, Chiqui Luna, and asked me if I wanted to be part of the family. So for me, it was kind of like a dream to always come back to the club that gave me the opportunity to start my career and give something back. So it was 2017. I started coaching with the Sockers. I'm the assistant coach. And it's one of the best things that happened to me as a coach, besides winning the World Cup for Mexico and Australia last October. Coaching for the Sockers is one of the things that happened to me as a coach. Soccer today are obviously playing in the MASL, Major Arena Soccer League. We have pretty good competition. Last year, Milwaukee won the league. The year before was Baltimore. So the last couple of years we've been lost in semifinals to Monterrey. and unfortunately, to this year, it was canceled due to the virus going on.
Yeah, that virus is kicking our butt everywhere.
So, I know. So the head coach is Phil Salvaggio, which at that time, when I played in '94, I believe '94, he was a goalkeeper as well for the Sockers now. So he ended up buying the Sockers, and now he's the head coach.
So
I'm the assistant.
So tell me what happened with the transition of you guys signing Landon Donovan. How did that happen, and what was I know it was about ticket sales and stuff. What was it like having Landon Donovan on your team?
Oh, it was great. Landon actually was a very approachable guy. He's very intelligent. He will always ask very specific questions about indoor game because he didn't know much about indoor. So when we brought him in, he was one of the first guys to always come to practice, and one of the last ones to leave. He will always pay attention on when the coach were talking. And he provided just a different atmosphere around us. He out of a sudden we had the media there, reporters, TV. We got everybody wanted to come record Landon back on the field, and that was kind of like a good time for the soccer because we got a lot of exposure, and having Landon just probably the best. I don't know if you will agree. If not the best, the top 2, top 3 all time American players of all time. It was something very unique and very special for all of us.
Yeah, I was like in shock that he was doing it. I was like, one, he's going to have a rude awakening because indoor soccer is a different game entirely. And two, I was like turned on to it like I was watching the games because Landon was playing. He brought, and I was more intrigued. I'm like, how's he going to do? Because you know how it is. I mean, indoors is a very intelligent game, and the older you are, you tend to get better, not worse, like you do elsewhere. I remember hearing about the St. Louis Steamers. They brought all the Steamers back, and they're all in their 40s, and they were talking trash with the main team, and they did a game after the game, a big bet too, and the old timers beat the current squad, like embarrassed them, and there's a difference. I mean, it takes a lot of intelligence to play indoor soccer, and so how did Landon adapt to the game? Because it is different.
So one of the things that he struggled a lot, it was to quickly find his mark when we play defense, when we lose transition. I mean, we lose the ball, and you got transition to defense. So I think it's very typical for players or outdoor players that haven't played indoor soccer ever. That in soccer, if you're a midfielder, you lose the ball, you have 6, 7 guys behind you, to get it back or retrieve. And indoor, you just don't have that much, first of all, time. You had to really pick up your defender, as you know. And kind of land the struggle on that. So we had him going on threes where, if he loves the ball, didn't feel comfortable, just quickly put up a defensive runner, and we wanted to use his offensive skills and expertise more than anything,
Right. So he is he involved anymore? Is he like helping like as an owner?
He actually coaches he coaches the San Diego Loyal, which is the what's it called, USISL.
It's USL
division
1
team league.
Yeah.
Well, you have the MLS, and then you have the second one.
Yeah, it's USL 1, USL 2. So I think he's USL 1.
I think it is USL 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they was about to start the season. I think did they play in Tucson a couple of weeks ago? They had an exhibition game. He's the coach, so he coached. I know he went to Arizona, and they had a game there where they won. and then they were going to play the first game of the season, which I think they tied at San Diego, which they had a pretty good attendance at USD here in San Diego.
Yep.
And then that's when the outbreak started. So yeah, he's here in San Diego. He's coaching the Loyal.
Yeah, my college team. So he coached against the Tucson FC, which is our USL team here, or unless he played the Rising. Probably got the Rising in Phoenix. So Ricky Shantz is the head coach of the Arizona Rising, who I played with as a kid in ODP, and now he's the head coach of the Rising, which is an amazing organization here. See, any soccer sell out like they do is crazy, but times are changing across the country for soccer. So the San Diego Sockers, you guys, you play the sidekicks. Now this Tattoo is now coaching the Outlaws, and do you know what happened there? Any idea why Tattoo left the sidekick, or excuse me, the sidekicks to become the Outlaws coach? Do you have any idea what's going on there?
So, maybe 5-6 years ago. So the sidekicks took a year off last year, I believe. But before that, Tattoo was coaching the sidekicks, and something happened with the ownership where he ended up suing the owner. So they got into a big fight, and he sued the owner, and then that's why he left. So they were fighting about something, salary or something. And then the new ownership came in, which is the Outlaws, and he became the coach. And so he took some of the players that he brought to the sidekicks originally. They went back with him to Mesquite. So there are two different groups now. So he coaches with the other team, with the Outlaws.
So Rene, so I played as a kid in 1993. I was at Dallas Cup, and we were playing in the we're in the just U19 in 93 because I went twice. I think it was 93, and we went to a Dallas Sidekick game, and they're playing the San Diego Sockers. Were you there? Were you playing in that game?
Yeah, 93. Yeah.
So
yeah, I was there. I was there because if it was the summer, maybe you played the championship. It was a championship game or just a regular season?
It was a regular league game. So Dallas Cup is.
If you look it up, man, I'm pretty sure I played that game.
So as Dallas does, they sell out, but they had.
Yeah, we played at that arena in downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
Couple of blocks from where President Kennedy was shot. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was right very close to there.
So, yeah, we did the whole tour and everything. So that was my first time in Dallas, and that's the first time I was at an indoor soccer game. And it was what made me decide, I want to be an indoor soccer player because I watched the Sockers play sidekick. So that was my first introduction to indoor soccer was that game.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you watched a pretty good game then.
Oh, yeah, it was insane. It was crazy. Yeah. I'm there's very few things I remember, growing up and stuff, but I remember that game, and I could not believe how many people were in that arena watching. We're fortunate enough to even watch that game. I mean, I didn't know who the Sockers were. I didn't know who the sidekicks were. I didn't know who Tattoo was until that game. So that's a small world. So as a kid, I watched you play one of the most, they it's crazy because they drew more attendance than the NBA team, and then I just kept following it, and then I wrote in high school. I wrote a letter that got delivered, 5 years later, and I said I'm gonna play for the Sand Sharks. Then I went to the Sand Shark games because of what I witnessed there. Because Sand Sharks came online in '94, and then or 94, 95, and then went the hiatus, and then I'm a rookie for the Sand Sharks. So small world.
Pretty cool.
So
pretty cool. Yeah.
The one thing I would say, like from playing, playing against Tattoo, which was crazy. I'm like, we would go at it. He didn't know I was his. I idolized the guy, and of course I never showed that. But that guy, when he would post me up, when I got stuck marking him, he would put his foot on the ball. David Doyle would run around him. He would roll the ball to David Doyle, then kick both his legs and hit you, and then they would call a foul against me. And I'm like, how is he doing that? And I remember getting so frustrated telling the referee, he's kicking me. I'm just it was, now looking back, it was such a beautiful technique to be able to set up his teammate and then draw a foul in case David Doyle missed. And it was really fascinating. And those are the things that people don't know. Like, you can't teach that. You have to learn that through the process of experience and playing. I mean, it was just the guys. I don't know how old he was at the time, 38, and just he was so strong. He was tiny, and he was so strong with his body position and everything, and had such control of his body. I was just fascinated about what he could do. So.
Right. So one of the big things that when I marked Tattoo is like in Run You, what you tell me, you cannot get too close to him because he will turn and roll you. And one thing that he will do, he will go back. He will check for the ball. As the ball coming to him, he will back towards you. So he will hit you, and then he will fall. And the referee will call a foul on the defender. So you have to be very smart how to fall into that trap, which it was easily to get frustrated with the calls and the referees, and then you have he had you where he wanted you, get all frustrated and upset and blah blah blah. So yeah, he was very good at that. He was very good at the corners. He was very good at far posts. He was good. He was not too much of a dribbler. He was more like a finisher type. He was the guys who will always, if you don't keep an eye on him, he will find a way to sneak, run you and then tap it in. And him and David Doyle, I think if you look at indoor soccer, one of the good offensive pairs or I think offensive players who play well together. I would rate him maybe the second or third. My first one I can think about is Hector Marinero and Soren Karic. And then David Doyle and Tattoo will be followed the second one. Another one that I can think of was in the Rafa Cicinho with Chiqui Lopez. That's early 80s, 93, 94. So, yeah, by far, they're probably the best two players and more difficult players to play against, David Doyle and Tattoo.
That's it. So, were you ever instructed, were you ever the defense? Because I know you played a lot of defense. Were you ever in the situation where you had to mark Tattoo, or it's just kind of the nature of indoor? No.
In 1993, the year that you said you came and watched us play, we ended up playing the CSL final, Dallas and San Diego, and Ron Newman during the whole series told me, and because I was subbing with Walter Hermes. So it was very instructing to whenever Tattoo was on the field, I had to be on the field marking. If Tattoo will leave the field, and then I will step out of the field, and then my partner will come in. And the game that I did that in the championship game, that was the only game that Tattoo didn't score. So I was very proud of that. He had an assist on the power play, but he didn't score a goal, and that was I broke his streak of scoring goals for so many games. So yeah, one thing that I was very proud of my career that I did is have the trust and the coaches to mark Tattoo one time, And then when I played for the U.S. national team, indoor soccer, went to tournament in Mexico. We played to Argentina. I was instructed to mark Maradona, believe it or not. So whenever Diego Maradona was on the field, I had to be marked him. So that was pretty cool.
Hold on. You had to mark. You played against Diego Maradona.
Yeah.
All right.
In 1994, there was a tournament in Mexico of indoor soccer, and Maradona was banned from playing outdoor soccer. So he came with Argentina. It was outside Mexico City. So they played in our group. And at that time, Guy Newman and the coach Diego from Gordon Diego from Dallas were the coaches. So when we played Argentina on the pre-game talk, they told Rene, whenever they was in the field, you had to mark him. If Diego steps out of the field, you step out of the field well, and then your partner will come in. So,
all right. Tell me. So what happened? What was it like? Tell me everything.
Oh, dude, it was unbelievable. So, first of all, I said you can imagine that it was packed. There was media everywhere. So it's an environment, atmosphere that I've never been had experienced before. And so whenever Diego was on the field, I was marking him one-on-one, and people would clear up, and they wanted to take people on, but it was not as fit as other days. This is after Barcelona. This is after Italy, Napoli. This is after the World Cup in '86. So this is 1994. Okay. So he was a little overweight, but his speed, his quickness was unbelievable. So I will approach him, and then he will do his move. And as soon as he gets the view, I will make the tackle and foul him. I didn't mean to foul him, but he was so quick that I had to foul him. I would stop the play. And the Argentina was really upset with me. They almost turned to a fight. Yeah.
So,
it was.
Did you get pictures of that? Other than your memories?
Believe it or not, no. Actually, Brett Phillips on Facebook posted a picture, and I asked him because at that time we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have cameras with us. We just go and play, and I asked our reporter to take a picture of me with him, and the guy is supposed to bring it back to the hotel, and he never did. So I have no memories, no pictures. I have memories, but no pictures.
You need to. When's the last time you even tried to look for those?
Well, like I said, Brett Phillips, the goalkeeper, just posted up in Facebook a picture of that tournament. And I asked him, "Do you have any more pictures?" Because I have none. So
what,
I'm
what's crazy?
I'm in the process of trying to find some of those pictures because those are
I'm gonna find it for you. So I actually used this service. I did a 7-day free trial, and it pulled up every picture and article written throughout the world about me based on key points. So I was able to get all my college news reports, every Sand Shark, Thunder, stuff that you would never find. That it's your stuff, if there's a picture out there anywhere, it can be found. And every year it goes by, more and more stuff comes up, which is crazy to think about. But for human beings, they want to know their past, and people post. And you'd be shocked. If you look once a year, I bet it'll appear. And if I find it for you,
that'd be awesome.
I want good tickets on the glass at the San Diego Soccer's game.
Anytime. You come to San Diego, I'll get you a ticket.
I wanna come and visit. I want to watch a training session.
You should.
I'm a big indoor fan, and that's a sport that
Cam, I'm telling you, Cam, with your contact, man, you should freaking start a new franchise in Arizona.
There's so many idiots over here. We've had 20 professional teams fake, trying to do it.
Do you know that the Mexican, the former Mexican national team coach played in Arizona?
Miguel Herrera. I played with him.
Yeah. And he's Coach America. He's a big time now.
Yeah.
And I remember he had a 6-month, he was suspended for 6 months, or he was something had to go play outdoor soccer. He went to Arizona and played. And now he's big time. So there's a history in Arizona, you know. So
yeah. Well,
there's not only him, like good players and good programs. And I remember when I played with the soccer, we should go when the ownership with the Sanchak was owned by the NBA owner,
Colangelo,
the NBA team. Yeah, dude, I remember seeing that it was a resort that we stayed in. It was unbelievable, first class. You guys have Terry Woodbury there? You had Terry?
Yep.
Did Terry Woodbury play for you guys?
Yeah, Terry Woodbury
from Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, Terry played with us.
I just saw him in Dallas. He does private physical training.
Yeah. I'm Facebook friends with him.
Yeah, good guy.
So yeah, if
who was the guy who his father-in-law owned the team, the Thunder?
That was my father-in-law.
That was your father-in-law?
Yeah.
How's he doing? He's a good guy, man. You still married to that girl?
Yeah, no, I'm still married to his daughter. Yeah, we stayed around 23 years coming up.
I thought it was you. I mean to ask you, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, man. He actually knows my owner, Phil Salvaggio.
Yep.
They know each other. Because
Yeah.
he does construction, right? He's in construction, right?
He a land developer, and he's obviously retired, and now his sons kind of run the company. But yeah, he's in retirement. He lives in Seattle right now. He has 2 homes in Seattle, right on the Puget Sound.
So quick story. When I played for the Arizona, and then the second year with Coach Leroy took over, I got a call say, "Hey, I want you back. You know, hopefully this year you make preseason, you can be better shape." And I said, "Listen, I'm in the process of I'm in college right now. I decided to go back to college and get my degree, and I don't think it's a good idea." And I talked to him. I talked to the owner, which is your father-in-law.
Yeah.
Because Rene, good decision, man. Go to college. You know, if I was you, I will stay in college and invest in my future. So it's one of the best advices, and I got really encouraged that I was making the right decision, you know, by him. And also I talked to what was the name of the trainer that we had?
Brian Lee.
Brian.
Yeah, Bealey.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he also told me, dude, Dustin. So I ended up not going back. That's when I left. I left Arizona and just focused on school. Went back to San Diego State.
Yeah, that was a smart play for you. Obviously, it worked out for you. I mean, when I went to St. Louis to play with Daryl Duran, I left because I didn't finish my degree, and I'm glad I went back and got it done so I could have work doing what I love, which is coaching college soccer.
Yeah, so. Man, and it's sad to see a lot of former players who obviously they were great players, but they never planned or never thought about the future, and now they're not as they're not in good shape.
No, yeah, it's
sad.
You can get stuck. You can get stuck pursuing, the joy of those moments, but it won't help you forever. So unless you can organize it with online school and stuff, you could do it both, but you got to be disciplined. But it's crazy. I'm so glad we did this podcast, Rene. I mean, I had no idea you played against Diego Maradona. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, yeah. Very few people knew that. I played with Diego Maradona, and then also with Dallas. We still have a contact with. I was roommate with Hugo Sanchez. So I played with Hugo, which is probably the best Mexican player of all time.
Yeah.
Played against Diego, and so I can take that with me. You know what I mean?
and now I can say I played with Rene Ortiz, who played with Diego Maradona, 2 degrees separation, and I played with Miguel Herrera. I'm like, that's kind of like I use it as a recruiting tool because at Phoenix College it's all Hispanic, and I do recruiting
Dude,
visits.
this is what you should do. Here's an idea. Because you said earlier you want to go watch training practices, right? You want to see practices. So you should get in contact with Herrera, find him, send him a message. He remembered you. He will invite you to go watch America play in Mexico City, and then me and you will go. We'll be your translator.
Perfect.
And we have fun.
Sold. And you know the athletic trainer, the strength coach with Miguel at America and with the current Mexican national team is Heber, who I know who played at Grand Canyon University. He's from Arizona as well. But no, Rene, let's do that.
There you go. Dude, we got to use your resources, man, because that's the best we're gonna get. You know, we're not gonna get any better than that.
Well, after this podcast, I'm gonna talk to you about getting in touch with Miguel, because I actually have his phone number and stuff that you can actually contact him for me, so you can be my translator right away. So yeah, that'd be awesome. So we're gonna close this podcast to the Bouncing Souls, which you can't hear, but you'll hear it this podcast tomorrow. This is Coach Cameron with Rene Ortiz, who played against Diego Maradona. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Thank you so much, Rene, for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.